too want to play a role in like breaking the silence around AIDS.
Out of all the referrals I know of, I don't see one thing geared towards women incarcerated. There's not one single thing.
I don't know what was supposed to be rock bottom for me, but the only thing that appeared to be it was HIV, you know. And I actually feel like it's like one more challenge, you know. It's like the poverty and the arrests and the drugs and all those other things that I survived, and it's just one more thing to struggle with.
I'm Martha Melendez. So I put down that I'm recovering from crack and heroin, right? And my first problem is being HIV. And then my second problem, I put my spouse. Because in spite of that, maybe my husband is a pain in my butt, but HIV is my main concern, because if I can't keep myself healthy, then I can't deal with him.
But together we stand, and together we lay. Hey, that's how I live tomorrow and today.
Listen to the voice of experience. That's how I live. Stop the beat and listen to the melody.
Round and round and round and round.
I bitched, I cried, I moaned, I yelled, I screamed. I couldn't understand why God had did this to me, why he put this death sentence on me. Oh my God, then I tried to figure out where I got it from. I mean, I went through a whole lot of stuff.
Lately I've been feeling very down. Being in the system makes you feel down. Getting online to chow when you're going to get toilet paper. Getting counted 117 times a day. Where are we going to go? I'm in my bed. It's a nightmare.
I met this fabulous sister at Bedford, and I call her my white dove sister, and her name is Kathy Bodine. And Kathy approaches me one afternoon in the quiet yard, and she says, T.J., Judy and I and a couple other people, a few years ago, were thinking about, you know, educating women on AIDS, you know, because it's something that we're concerned about in our community here.
They wrote a proposal to the superintendent and said what they wanted to do, that they wanted to be able to have a forum where they could meet together and at least talk about AIDS in Bedford. I guess it was about 30 people there, and it was a very diverse group. And still some of us didn't even know why we were there. So we like went around introducing ourselves, and about the third woman, she said, my name is Sonia and I have AIDS, you know. And I had never heard anybody say that before out loud, and I don't think anybody else in the room had heard anybody else say that out loud. And the room went like silent, and then people like engulfed her. And it made me cry, because it was like there was so much support in the room for this person who was able to say, I have AIDS, you know. And I thought to myself, I could never say that.
AIDS was great for me. When I got diagnosed in '89, I walked around like I wanted to die. I didn't know if I wanted to die or live. But I met Katrina. And Katrina was doing my legal work in the legal library. So Katrina took me to the side one day. She says, come let me talk to you.
Some of those issues in terms of like legal stuff was, do I still have a right, you know, to furloughs, or do I have a right to custody of my children? Who has a right to this information, my HIV status information? How does parole use this information against me? What am I entitled to, you know? So it basically dealt, because it was a women's facility, it basically dealt around child care issues. I would say that was the major legal thing. But it also dealt with wills, you know, the right to die, and, you know, all those issues for people.
She says, I see you down taking the same medication I'm taking. So she said, but you're not in none of our groups. So we talked, and she got me to come to the groups, okay? When I went to the group, I told her, she said, tell me what problems you have. I tell her one thing I don't know how to tell my lover. So she met my lover, and we talked, and we got through that.
Relationships in prison must exist, because people need to feel and be touched by other people, okay? And who are there? Other women.
They don't allow condoms in the women's prisons, but they do allow them in the men's prison. And that's just like to me saying that they're allowing them to have sex, but not the women. You know, they have to sit down and see that. I mean, they're already in jail.
But how could women use condoms?
As them to them, or on their hand.
For medical advocacy, it dealt with how do I talk to my doctor? You know, what things I should be asking him. How do I handle a doctor that's trying to just push drugs on me that I have some opposition about? How do I get a third party to go into a consultation with me, with my physician, and help me translate this medical information? And so actually getting an individual to go on visits with other PWAs and say, okay, and developing a list of questions that that particular individual might want to address to their physician, but was intimidated to address.
I still went to groups and I was still crying. So she said, well, what problems we have today? I don't know how to tell my mother don't want me in her home, okay? So we finally told my mother. Now my mother definitely don't want me in her home. So they was there for me. They gave the support. And when I did leave Bedford, I went home.
In order for me to get out of Bedford, I had to get an address, right? And I knew I couldn't live with my mother. And I knew I couldn't live with my sister. And my other brother was in Georgia. And my brother Cedric was out on a mission. So, but I had to get out.
The first problem coming out of prison is getting financially stable. And that's only a little part of the problem. Because it takes time, and you're gonna have a lot of idle time. You're not gonna have enough cash to move around, going to the places. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's not gonna go like this. Here, go ahead.
With my T-cell count and the opportunistic infections that I have, I've been turned down by SSI twice. My old man is my landlord. I get regular welfare and I don't get much. So it's like I also need to make some money. I'm a grown woman. I can't live on $340 a month and $80 in food stamps.
And then you have to deal with what's around you. If you live in a building where they have all them drugs and you know what's going on there, and every time you walk out the door, you gotta use the bathroom outside or something like I do. And you know, I'm clean, and they look like this, you know, and I'm over here saying they're gonna rip me off any minute, you know, and things like that, and there's nothing that I could do about it. Okay, that's part of the problem.
In a city jail, they might have some methadone maintenance. In Bedford, you're not gonna have that. So one, people are either gonna have to kick on their own, you know, and people are not gonna openly come forth and say to the medical department, after being there 6 months or a year, I've developed a heroin habit, or, you know, I'm on crack, or whatever, you know, and so there is no treatment because docs automatically assume this doesn't happen, and so we have no addicts here.
I didn't pay no attention to them bullshit drug meetings they got in Bedford Hills. I smoke a joint in the yard and go to a meeting. That's what I did.
The population of people that have some history of drug addiction, and I'm summing them all together, I would say about 85%.
When I came home, nobody took me by the hand. I went right back to getting high. I had all good intentions of like, I don't want to be a slob no more. And I came home, I was fucked up. I didn't know what to do with my status. Okay, I looked around, all my friends were dying in the streets. And on methadone programs, I was like, my God, what am I gonna do?
The choice is mine. With my ordinary joy and pain inside, I try to get by. And I ain't gonna learn yet, no.
When I was in prison, I was thinking, well, where can I go when I come out, and what can I do and stuff like that. You know, I didn't know there would be an ACE Out program like this.
We started ACE Out, so women that coming home the way I did wouldn't have no problems that I had. I didn't have no support when I got home. Only support I knew about was ACE support, right? Now that I was in the street, I didn't have no one to turn to. And we don't want our ladies coming home and don't have nobody to turn to.
When I was in jail, I learned that you could be with women and it doesn't have to always be about gossip. That's one of the reasons why I wouldn't hang out with women. The only time I came to hang out with women was in jail. Out here, you can call me whatever you want to call me. because they called me prostitute and everything because I was always with men. I was always in a group of men and always talking with men. I was always like the center of attraction, I'm not gonna lie. And that's what I liked it then, you know. Today I have a very jealous husband, and I don't want to be the center of attraction anymore. I just want to be part of something. And that's how I feel, that I'm part of A South.
I think one of the most important things is to stay in touch with people, to keep calling. You gotta keep calling. You know, Leslie, I gotta call Leslie. Leslie's gotta call Linda. Linda's gotta call Tony. Tony's gotta call Angie. Angie gotta call Marty. Marty gotta call Deborah. Deborah gotta call Katrina. You know what I'm saying? And on and on and on. And so what's up with Lee?
Whatever you do, don't get unattached from us, because we're your family. See, we there to help you pick, you know, we got a puppy on each side, we're there for you. But we can't help you if you're someplace else and we're here. You know, and then you never consider that we might be worried about you. You never thought us. You know, like I'm calling this place and this man is not, like he's telling me he's giving you a message, and then you're not responding back. And I'm saying, I know she got a quarter.
I'm a product of my environment, and I used to thrive on insanity. If there was no insanity in my life, I had to produce it. Drugs was a great way to produce insanity.
The other problem is the idle time. That's the big one. The idle time when you don't have nothing to do and you're just getting situated, that's the hard problem.
Now, first I became the video queen, because I don't have nothing to do. Every day, I don't have nothing to do. I start buying videos. The man know I'm going every day with about 4, 5, 6 videos. Okay, I got bored with those videos about 2 months. I was watching those videos. Then I became obsessed with buying food. I would have 9 rolls of toilet paper and go buy 9 more. You know, obsessing on, you know, stuff, just buying things, because I ain't got nothing else to do. See, I don't really know how to, you know, I don't really know how to live, because all I did was get high.
All I suggest is don't let that emptiness mess with your head and allow you to go back to drugs. That idle time, do something, make something, do, you know, even if it, you know, makes you go and do something constructive, start knitting, start doing anything.
I did something with the idle time, and I suggested that to you.
Yeah.
You said, I don't need it. I said, you know what? You're in a very active place, baby. And if you're in a barbershop long enough, you're going to get a haircut.
But the HIV, it's not, it's rough too. Because at any moment you can say, wow, I could wake up tomorrow and I'd be like, what are those people, they'd be having, you know, to go to the hospital. You know what I'm saying? Or what's going to happen tomorrow? The big question mark, what's going to happen tomorrow? Am I going to feel all right? Am I going to get fever? You know? How am I going to deal with this when it comes?
All you can do is try, man. I don't even know you. You know, like personally, all you can do is try. You try to get through a day. Living with AIDS is no joke. You know what I mean? Sometimes I go into 12-step meetings and I hear people say, yeah, I'm okay with that. I ain't fucking okay with this.
Right.
I am not okay with it. I'm not even a little bit okay with it. I have my moments and I have good days, but I really seek out places to go. I come over here, I go to long-term survivor groups, I do this, I do that. I try to get involved in the field.
In terms of this week coming, you know, like, wow, am I going to, you know, am I going to lose everything because I'm going to wind up in the hospital and start all over again? That's just like getting busted and starting all over again.
I thought I would have the AIDS, not him, because he had a job and a car, and that's the type of denial I was in.
I did smoke a lot of crack, and smoking crack caused me to have unsafe sex. So while I was out there worrying about getting $1 here and $1 there, I wasn't thinking about I can get this and I can get that. I was treated for syphilis. I was treated for herpes. He was telling me that in my blood I had hepatitis B. And I was like, oh my God. So he's like, all these symptoms, and you say that you've had gonorrhea in the past. And I started having venereal diseases when I had my second baby, and that was in '85. So I don't know how long this has been in me.
I found out recently, okay, that he tested positive 2 years before me and never told me. And we practiced unsafe sex.
Now, I'm not saying I got infected from him. I might have infected his fucking ass. I don't know what happened. I just kind of turned around to him the other day and I said, you know something, Mike? I said, I'm trying, like, I won't even, like, try and make this a reason to fight. I said, do you ever think about maybe that because you didn't tell me I got infected? Which, it seems far-fetched to me. I was using needles way before I met him. And he said, I thought about it. He said, I don't know. I said, how come you didn't tell me? And he got a little fucked up. He said, because I was ashamed, man.
I think a lot of this plays on our HIV issue. A lot of this.
I do too.
Because see, I stayed in a sick relationship, so as long as I could be in a relationship, sick or in sick or whatever, I stayed in it. Because just because my HIV tells me you ain't gonna get nobody else.
Right, there you go. All right, that's my problem.
Ain't nobody else gonna want you. Then you got this sick body, you sick and this and that. So see, so the relationship was sick, where a normal person would say, no, you hit the road, Jack. Especially in recovery, you know, but see me having that very low self-esteem with the HIV, it just told me, yeah, well, maybe it ain't that bad, I can fix it. What can I fix?
People don't want to risk losing lovers, you know, whether it's inside or out. And so, and on a lot of levels, you know, there's an attachment to their lover. Either this lover is taking care of them or providing someone to come in and give them visits and leave them money or whatever.
When I told my ex-husband that I was HIV, that's when we broke up. The minute I told him I was HIV, he ran out on me. You know, I mean, we were in jail, both of us, but he ran out on me because he didn't wrote me back.
And he looks at you, or she looks at you like you stupid, you know, when you say you're using the dental dam or you're using a condom, when I've been taking care of you for the last 3.5 years. I've had your kids, kept them from going to foster care, you know, came up every visiting day, make sure that you had whatever it was that you needed, you know, and now you're gonna tell me about a condom. What the fuck was you doing while you were in there?
When I learned how to love Deborah, just that much, you know. I learned not to compromise. I tell you, to compromise on my values. Now, I didn't have a lot of values when I was in the street, so these are things I had to learn, you know, okay? And for me, what I'm trying to say is that I'm not gonna accept that you got another woman. See, I did that when I was in the street using. See, you can have Jane, Mary, Sue, because I had dope. It made no difference. You can have anybody you want. As long as you got that bag of dope for me or I got the crack. And if you didn't get that, I had attitude. Okay? I'm not using. I'm not accepting that you sleeping with somebody else. I'm not gonna accept that. I don't care if I went to jail and listen, this is the package deal. Okay, I got HIV, you wanna be with me or you don't? See you later. You look better with your hand on the doorknob going out the door.
I didn't know nothing about self-love till I started coming to the meetings. I really didn't. I didn't even know that those two words were together.
But I think what's under that is our own self-esteem about who we are, you know, as women, as prisoners, as, you know, women of color or whatever. I think that needs to be dealt with before we could begin to say to women we got to be empowered and, you know, we got to take charge of our own lives. They first have to say, who am I, you know, and what do I want for me and what do I think about myself, you know, and before any behavior changes could happen, that transition has to happen internally for her.
They're asking me now at the agency that I should start drawing up a will. Drawing up a will at the age of 25 is like, it's hard. I keep trying to go around it because I'm like, I'm not going nowhere. I'm going to live, I'm not dying. I'm just learning to live with this thing. And I refuse to die, I refuse to think negative, I want to think positive because I see that when I think negative, everything goes wrong. When I think positive, the world will fall on me and everything's still okay.
Got you deep in the heart of me, down so deep, you're really a part of me. I got you under my skin.
I'm just beginning to be a mother again after 4 years. And
You have more children?
Yeah, I got 3 other ones, 3 other children.
Where they at?
2 of them, I lost them to foster. They're been adopted already. And the 3rd one, before I got pregnant of her, I voluntarily gave her up for adoption. I felt that I was unfit at the time to take care of my child. And she was in a good home, and I wanted that same lady to take care of my baby for the rest of her life.
I'm getting ready to go take classes so that I can sit my child down and tell her I have AIDS. You know what I mean? And I don't know how I feel about doing that.
Right now, I have to deal with giving her medication, taking my medication, left my watch at home, you know. It's like, I know that things may be going a little hectic, but I have my sisters here to help me, you know.
And sometimes the only way I can survive it is like to do something about it. My whole thing was I always wanted to work with female inmates coming home on some kind of reentry level. Tell them this is what you got. Don't go get high with your friends. Go to SSI. Go to welfare. Do this, do that.
A lot of the girls are getting their children back, and they don't know how to deal with them, you know. I don't know how to deal with them either, because I'm just getting my child back, but we'll do it together, you know, and that's what I keep telling them. We're just gonna have to do it together.
You know, I know the ladies heard it all before, but it's a different when they hear it from their own kind.
I want you ladies to be able to make it like I am. For the newcomers, I've only been at this maybe 4 weeks, 5 weeks. And it's not like I was studying for all this, because I wasn't. The only study I had was in jail. I just came out 3 months ago, 3.5 months. And I'm trying to show society that if us ex-convicts can do it, the ones that are already in society can do it too. They don't have to wait till they go to jail to come back out.
Now I'm founder of the Borough President's Women's Workshop. I'm co-founder of ASOUT. I'm on the panel of ICCF, which is Intercouncil Community Fellowship. Okay, that motivates me when I'm being recognized for being in Albany, in Syracuse, you know, being in City Hall. That's my motivation, you know. When I go into the prisons and women of myself recognize me, that's great. I love that, and that's what keeps me going. That's my recovery.
I'm not in the street, I'm not drinking, I'm not drunk, and I got an illness that's death, life-threatening, and I still want to live. Can't tell me I ain't nobody.
A couple of days ago, I was in Rikers Island, and there was inmates against the wall, women inmates, and the commissioner was there that day also. And when the lady seen me walking down the hall, it was like, yeah, they don't never clean up the place until people from the commission office come in, right? And I happened to turn around and I say to one of them, I'm you, you're me. I stood in these walls and said the same thing you said. One of the ladies hollered, oh, I know her, that's Linda.
A recognition for outstanding contributions on behalf of HIV-infected individuals, as a role model for other ex-offenders and all HIV-positive individuals. The Osborne Association is proud to present the 1992 McCormick Award to Katrina Hayslip.
If I could leave with just like one message for today, I think that message would be that we must always find a way to motivate ourselves. We must find a way to use the smallest success as an incentive to continue doing this work. And by all means, we must not allow prisoners to be invisible. Let's keep the pressure on. Thank you.
Born of the earth, child of God, just one among family, and you can count on me.
Don't take a serious moment of silence. For all those infected, affected, for all those people yet to be educated, followed by the swing of those kids.
God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Keep coming back. It works if you're working, so work it, live it.